Hello, my name is Heriton Buatco. With us, we have the author, Homo Bono Dasa, and we have the book, Capturing the Moments. At this point, I'd like to bring you to one of the chapters, which is Father James McMahon, S.J. And allow me to quote, I found Father McMahon's advice well-founded, Bono Dasa says. So I decided to get married. This was to save his life from the politics and the rigorous disciplines of study and for country. Interestingly enough, on to the next paragraph, here is the argument which I like to place forward. The debate on the morality and propriety of a national leader, no less the president, to have dalliances with other women while in office. His view on the propriety of a president having another woman while in office astounded me. Why is it no less a priest says he agrees that a man, a president, should be allowed his indiscretions with a woman so that he doesn't go crazy, he argues. Yeah. And yet you disagreed with him.
I disagreed with him.
But eventually you let him go.
I disagreed with him at the very beginning, and this took more than a year of arguments lasting until 3 o'clock in the morning. Because, you know, my father was mayor for almost 20 years.
20 years.
In our town, Catarman, Camiguin. No? And my mother was a school teacher. A small town, gossips about everything.
But your mother came from a very well-to-do family.
Oh, no, not really. it's my wife's parents.
Not mother, I'm sorry. Your wife pala.
Yeah, wife.
We're talking about your mom.
And then my mother used to cry in the middle of the night because of the gossip that my father was having dalliances with women, and I have not seen any woman other than my mother with my
him.
father. So I argued against Father McMahon. Said, you know, the leader should be given the privilege to violate the moral law insofar as man-woman relation is concerned.
Which you disagreed with.
Yeah, I disagreed with, and said, why? Because he will either go insane or he will make erroneous decisions which will affect the lives of millions. So you have to give him that privilege. I argued and argued the point until one time, Harry, a prisoner, bishop prisoner, was a Jesuit, arrived in Cagayan de Oro, but I was in Manila. And when I came back, said, you know, Bon, you should have been here when the prisoner of Mao Zedong arrived here. Why? He agrees with me. I said, Father, there's something wrong somewhere. So, Father retired from Xavier University as president and left for New York in the Loyola House. One day, I got to read an article on Janio Quadros, and later his biography, you know. And the article on Janio Quadros, he was the most intellectual and probably the most brilliant president of Brazil. He quit after 6 months. And you know the reason why he quit? He was Católico cerrado. He's very Catholic. He could not have any other woman. He was going insane.
Insane, yeah, with the problems every day.
Before going insane, he resigned and went to a sanitarium. So I said, after all, Father McMahon is correct. So I decided to leave for New York the following week, only to learn that Father McMahon already died. But I wanted to apologize to him, no? That he is right.
I found that intriguing. How would you relate Pinoy to that?
Pinoy is quite a problem because the perception of some people about Pinoy is, you know, he has an identity problem. And that's why I said, please don't call me homo, because if you call me homo, I'll likely get to be president. So let's leave it at that, Harry.
Let's go forward. Going forward, we've got Congressman Fausto Dueño. Very interesting, very, very interesting. He notes, it is not easy, he says, to deliver a speech in the House of Representatives. I found that sentence very intriguing. If your information about the subject is not complete, because there were congressional giants in the House like Ferdinand Marcos, Arturo Tolentino, who would likely interpolate him. So, how can we relate that to the present day situations? Ngayon, lahat salita na lang ng salita. In the days of past, 5 decades ago, 4 decades ago, as they called it, the August Halls of Congress, hindi ka pwedeng makit dyan ng bobola lang, ano? na hindi well
Ah,
researched.
Hindi pwede. Anduhino was a brilliant lawyer.
Oh, brilliant. Top man.
And he
Top
was also
gun.
a brilliant writer. By the way,
Sayang lang, hindi natuloy sa politiko eh.
A.V. Hartendorf, the publisher and editor of the Free Press, named Duhino as one of the best 10 Filipino writers in English in a decade. With
Ay,
his
ang
short
galing.
story, Wanderlust. No? And he was correct kasi my father who worked with Duhino as his chief of staff was pressuring him, pare, deliver a privileged speech because they might think that you are the chairman of the Committee on Silence. So Duhino said, you know, pare, it's not easy to do that. I have to study very well the speeches that I will deliver. Because, you know, if I'm not right with my facts and my law, Tolentino and
Will pounce on you,
Tolentino, Marcos,
Yes.
Macapagal will tear me to pieces. And truly, one day, Duhino delivered a speech. It was well delivered, it was well prepared, because it was about me being deprived of graduating from the University of the Philippines on an issue of academic freedom.
Yes, because you did. You stood up for your beliefs.
Yes.
Let's go to Secretary Tony Raquisa. Very few people don't know. Know about. He says, Manong, I cannot live. This was Homo Bono Adasa's reply to him when he was being given a job in the executive committee. Manong, I cannot live on a salary of a court of first instance judge. If I accept the job, you're asking me, in effect, to be corrupt. You write this with candor and straight out.
Yes.
And the man was not insulted.
He was not insulted, and he asked, so what position do you like? You ask the president to appoint me Secretary of Justice. Because if we have problems of graft and corruption, I'll see to it that we will terminate, if not minimize, graft and corruption in a period of 1 year. And if I cannot do it in 1 year, he has my irrevocable resignation. Because if I can't do it, Manong, nobody can. I said, by the way, Raquisa Hari built the Guadalupe Bridge.
Oo nga,
1 month ahead of schedule.
Ano siya, DPWH.
That's right.
That I didn't realize that. That's why maraming revelations in your book na are not really popular information. There's another part on Raquisa. Ladies and gentlemen of this convention, allow me to thank all of you for your unanimous trust and confidence in me. I will win as senator because of your unanimous endorsement and support, but I cannot become president. Let us send someone to the Senate who will one day be president of the Philippines. My friend, your friend, Congressman Ferdinand E. Marcos. Was he not? He was correct.
Yeah, he's correct.
How could he see so far in the future?
Very prophetic. No, that man was brilliant. He came also from the UP College of Law. As a matter of fact,
Sabay-sabay lahat kayo
yeah, in the history of the trial lawyers in military justice, Marcos never won a case against Raquisa. But he did that because he could perceive that Marcos would become president. But this is
He could see him already ahead.
Yeah, but this is the punchline later. When Marcos was dead, and was in exile, and Raquisa was growing older, I went to visit him. No, in his house, there was no light, there was only candle. I said,
He was
Manong,
very frugal and talaga hindi magnanakaw.
na hindi magnanakaw. Manong, what happened here? Siya, I could not pay for the Meralco. I could not pay for the Meralco bill. So, and then he told me, you know, Bono, as I was telling you before, I withdrew in favor of Marcos. But on reflection, towards the end of his term, I came to realize that I should not have withdrawn because I would have become a better president.
Fantastic sana.
Yeah,
no?
fantastic.
Fantastic sana. We go to the next. It's Mayor Pedro Adaza. And interesting in this short chapter, Bono Adaza actually argues about Rizal being the hero. Let me read this and let him explain this. First, he says, Rizal was not the choice of the Filipinos. Second, he was rammed into our throats by the Philippine Commission, composed of Americans. Third, he was not in favor of the Philippine independence. He was for integration of the Philippines with Spain. Fourth, Bonifacio was for Philippine independence. Fifth, Rizal wrote his best works in Spanish, including Mi Ultimo Adios. Of course, sixth, Bonifacio wrote his works in Tagalog, his dialect. And I responded, my father was not surprised with my audacity because I broke into a familiar smile as I was explaining this to the president. Talagang nilaban mo na Jose Rizal, dapat si Bonifacio.
Dapat si Bonifacio.
Lakas loob mo naman.
And you know, Harry, my case with the University of the Philippines had nothing to do with Rizal and Bonifacio, but they were losing out in the public arguments, in the papers, in television. Should we introduce my column in the Philippine Collegian, where I maintain that Bonifacio should be in number
All the
one
way,
area.
you never gave in.
Yeah, and you know
You
what?
still feel that today?
I still feel that today. And you know what President Garcia said? You know, Umubono, I agree with you. I agree with you. But you cannot say that in public because you cannot fight the dead hero. Imagine
Good
that.
point. Good point.
Very good
Nevertheless,
point.
that opened my eyes between Bonifacio and Rizal. Interesting enough, I'd like, because we're running out of time, and there's so many points in this book, I want to go chapter by chapter. Okay, very quickly on Eva Estrada Calao. As a know-nothing president, Eva popularized the title on Corazon Aquino. TWA. So, inisip ko, ano naman to TW? Talagang walang alam. This is the mother of our president. And then she goes further. And she does not, she's relentless. Santa Santita, Corazon Maldita.
And
You talk about balls, this woman carries 5 of them.
that's right. That's right. Because you know, during martial law, when Congress was abolished by Marcos, the Senate met. No, the senators met in a secret conclave. All of them were there, and Eva was the only woman. All of them were silent on how to oppose Marcos. And then finally, Pipi Diokno, Senator Diokno stood up and said, nakakahiya tayo ditong mga lalaki, ha? Babae lang dito may bayag. Tayo, walang mga bayag. That's what Senator Diokno said. That's why every time I introduce Eva, presenting to you Senator Eva Estrada Calao, the only woman with balls.
Fantastic. We've run out of time, Governor Adasa. A quick dedication to our viewers about your book. A short message.
Well, I hope you read this book because as Harry pointed out, it's very interesting. And I want, as we are making history tonight, I want to make more history. My other books will also be launched in Harry's program.
Fantastic.
I'll not launch it anywhere else.
Fantastic. In fact, I'd like to relaunch your other books if that's okay with you.
It's okay with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, very soon you will be reading Homobono Adasa, his articles, very soon in a major newspaper. We will launch that very soon as well. So he will be in touch. As your professors taught you and your masters while you were accelerating your academic person that you are, as they always told you, Bono, stop reading, start writing.
That's why I'll continue writing to the end of my days and continue launching the books in your program.
Ladies and gentlemen, just one more time, here's the book. Now go to La Solidaridad, Google it, and go to Popular Bookstore, Google it, and find out that's how you get the book. And if you have problems, you can email me, that's harrytambuatco@gmail.com, and I will tell you how you may get this book. We hope you've enjoyed our program. And interestingly enough, one lesson, one experience I truly enjoy after the book. It's interesting how much we know and how much we learn. And the more we know, the more we realize we do not know. Especially if our government, our history, and decades past. It seems we take for granted knowing, thinking we know it all. Especially looking at the Senate and Congress. I am dismayed. I wish to learn more. I want to promote more. But only way I can do that properly is to learn and read more. Thank you very, very much. Salamat po. Congratulations, sir.
God bless.
You are what you watch.